Good morning. I don't know if I'm gonna be really clear, but a lot of things came in my mind since the last 3 days. A lot of things happened. So, one thing first, and I may not answer to your question, but one thing I noticed is that with this Instagram Live, now I cannot go anymore to the question. I cannot. Before it was like two sections in the story. It was post in the story and it was live. And now I don't know if it's like that for everybody, but I cannot have access to live in my story. I cannot have access to the live as that was for 24 hours. So I don't know if it's normal. I don't know what changed in Instagram. But this, in fact, I cannot go back and see if you had question. Because when I speak about these things that flows like that, it's very hard for me to go look at the question, answer to the question, because it cuts the flow of what comes to my mind. And these days it's very, very strong. I see more and more that little things they don't feel connected, they don't feel connected, but they are. They don't seem connected, but they are little tiny things. And this shows me that we really are one and we really are part of a big consciousness, and each of us bring an element, and it's up to us to take it without judgment, but to do what we feel to do in the moment. And I speak for myself by that. When started Minneapolis event some days ago, I had this comment on one of my picture that I found not justified, because for me, as I explained yesterday, it's not an explanation, it's just an observation. I feel that what I give on that platform is valuable, because it's a result of my life experience with all my going through pain and through difficulties to be able to be serene today as I am, because I've been through all these hard times and I developed, expanded my consciousness by that. And I was saying that we are doing the same thing at the collective level. At the collective level, by the difficulties we have, the adversities that are coming in our daily life, it's as much as opportunity to expand our consciousness, to find ways to deal with the thing, because these problems, these difficulties that are coming, in fact, are the catalyst for us to do differently, to do things differently, to find new ways. And it's what human being always did since the night of time. I always go back to origins when there is an issue. And I looked on time, and this comment I had, in fact, was really helpful. And I'm thankful to the person who did it, that make me act in a way that I was never think about doing, like posting her comment, not anonymously, even if she's not public, open. Like a lot of these judgmental comments, it's from people who are not exposing themselves and what they advocate for. For me, it's because they are not really comfortable with themselves and they are not really happy in their life, in their way to be. They are not really connected, and it's for that they cannot be really exposed, because they cannot face themselves. This is very interesting, and maybe I will not be clear because a lot of things are coming since I wake up. I wake up just 10 minutes ago, and I'm so like coming with so many informations are coming and connecting the dot that I could not go stand up and start to do my yoga and thing, because it's like amazing what is going on. In fact, it's gonna seems like coming from everywhere, but in fact I did a dream. I had a dream, and I slept very, very well. I had a night like wow, sleeping like 9 hours non-stop. Me usually I wake up at 5:36, and I start to write my dreams, or comes what is coming to my mind, and take first tea, and meditate a little bit, or do some breathing exercise, or taking my shower and go on my mat and do my yoga. So, but this morning it's like I can't, because the dream I had last night, and I remember only when when I was going to wake up, only that part was so strong. And it's connected to what I wrote yesterday, and as a video of yesterday, and it's connected to what happened in the world, and it's connected to what that person commented and that I posted, and that people reacted, and that people reacted before she took off the comment. And it's about the whole thing, and it's all connected together to a point that it's always amazed me. And yes, we are all part of the thing, and there is nothing wrong or right in itself. It's a whole. The comment obliged me in a way with all the messages I receive from followers, from you part of the big consciousness, as I am, and all connected at one level. The comment I had about this post, and the other comment, the other messages, so the message I had about the post, and the message I had with something else about the actuality, about what is going on right now, were connected, even if they don't seem, because the post was something about the individual, but what was the post was that why I was posting about myself, not considering about what was going on in the world. And I feel and think I'm posting about what is going on in the world at my own way. But sure, I'm not aware exactly about what is going on in the world, because first, I don't watch TV. I don't have a TV. I'm not connected to the news as they are. The information I get is from my followers who send me messages, because most of them start to understand and know me, and they send me things that can resonate with what I am on, but not because I'm gonna agree on that or that, but because these things that they send me are more food to think and to see how I gonna resonate with that, and what I gonna express with that, how I gonna think about these things. And for some people, when I post this, it can seem that it's about conspiracy, but it's not. Because yesterday, I went all day on searching about information beyond the media, beyond the TV, beyond all these things. And these things online brought me from now what is going on with the riot and everything, and the curfew that we have, like in war times, times of war and all that. And all this make me see that in fact we are again brought to be with ourselves, at least for 12 hours, from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. Out, don't go out. Be again deeper in the thing. And I don't want to see this like an impeachment of taken of our freedom. I don't want to see that. I want to see the other side of that. What is the other side of that? If not, to again be more in touch with ourselves in our home, protected. Can we take the good side of that and don't see the repression of that? Can we take the thing that we are obliged to be at home at night, when it's time to be really normally resting, sleeping, being in the dark, in the unknown. When we sleep, we go in another dimension, and we are active in this other dimension. The dream I had, and the part of the dream I remember just this morning before wake up, it was this woman, and I think it was me in the dream, but with a different appearance, like out of time. But it was me. And I had, I think it was 2 boys, my children, but it was more the masculine side. These children were grown, but still very young. And me, they were on the left side of the image, of the picture of the dream, and me, I was on the right side. And they were positive. This masculine energy was positive, but was in my dream like bringing something new. I was on the right side, and I was explaining to them. So for me, this is my interpretation when I analyze my dreams in my dream, because I did this work on dream for many years with a Jungian psychoanalyst. For me, but it's my interpretation. I don't say it's the interpretation in general. For me, the meaning of that is that with what I did yesterday, looking at the past of history in general, and very far in the past, going to the time of Egypt and even beyond, and reading about and remembering all that I read and study for so many, many years and connected the dot, it's a dream. There were the symbol of this new masculine energy that is coming. And this new masculine energy has always been there, but it's more like men now become more and more sensitive. And I was on the right side of the image, of the big picture of the dream. And what I was seeing, it was that I was taking off my face, like cutting all around my face, like a mask, around my eyes. I was taking off that flesh, and it was not scary. And I was showing to them what was under the mask. And what was left under the mask was like my bones and my muscles, but it was clean. But what stays the same was my eyes. The mask was gone, the face was gone, with around the orbit, around the eyes. And I was pulling that and showing them that under the eyes, in fact, the mirror of the soul was the same. No matter the mask we put on, what is deep within, it's what is the same. It is connected to that still point that is beyond time and space. And this is really moving to me. How can we just be, with all this adversity, connected beyond mask with what is there still since ever? And what is this thing since ever? And I think what the actual situation is showing us that, obliging us, don't see that like manipulation, like what came in my mind beginning of January, before all this started. I had a message, I had a vision, a big board written manipulation. And I was like, wow, what is this thing? And when will all this happen? Sure, I saw this conspiracy theory thing and all that. But can we go beyond all that and see that these are part of the whole same thing? It's not something that is or there. Yesterday, when I read about the right left wing, and I read about the right, extreme right wing, and extreme left wing, in fact, I was reading the same thing written differently. So now I think it's time, like what happened some like 2000 something years ago, when it's difficult to say that because people are going to say I'm anti that or anti. I don't care. For me, it's a repetition because, as I said yesterday, we are on the hinge of changing era. And when it's that changing, this shifting from one era to another, it's like things accelerate, things are shivering, things are put down, things are um, moved in a very sudden way that is really surprising and it is very disturbing because it's a shift we have to make it inside of each of us. This is the thing that is going on. And it's very hard to put words on that because it comes from a dimension where there is no words. And from our human vessels, our human vehicle, it's very hard to express something of the invisible. So I'm gonna try to express what I feel in a way that, but please don't take this as a religious tendency, it's Catholic or that. It's not. I'm not in a box of any religions. If I have one, it's maybe more the one of being connected to nature and observing since kid nature's law and feel this law, how they act inside of me, of growing, of healing. It's more that. So the dream was really strong and I could not do anything else than coming and speaking about what I feel. I feel like, and please again, don't take this like, or about any kind of religion. I think we repeat a situation, but this now it's at the global level. Like it has been symbolized, tell like a fairy tale, or more than 2000 years ago, of a human named Jesus who arrived in the temple and destroyed all the stores of the temple, saying, "It's not right to make money in the name of my Father." Can we see this, not putting this with a tag of a religion, but with an energy that cannot continue to be like that? We cannot continue to exploit the planet and humans on that planet to make money by greed. It's not possible. We have to find another way. And what is going on? As I said previously, that it be man-made, this COVID thing, or that is be not man-made, but by nature, like nature law, bringing something for us again to reflect. Because every time it has been a pandemic, every time humans were facing their mortality and obliged to think of something else, something deeper, something beyond the mask, something that is there still since ever, eternity. Beyond that mask cut of the face, human flesh, there are these eyes, and these eyes that sees, with this tiny hole that we all have. Who is looking back of these eyes? Who is seeing? And who is seeing and expressing itself? I think it's that. We are in a time now, we have to reconnect really with that essence. I say essence because I don't have a word to express that. What is this thing? I can say it's a divine essence. I don't know what it is, but what is this thing that makes us thinking, seeing, reflecting? How can we be in touch, each of us, with that? And what is going on? I cannot not do the parallel with what happened more than 2000 years ago with the story of Jesus, who became Christ. Because Christ, Christic energy, it's the shift he made. And that it be a fairy tale or that it be true, it's a shift that we can make in each of us. And I don't say become Catholic. No, don't take me wrong. I say become connected to this energy that is an energy of healing. How can we heal? Heal ourselves, heal the planet. Because if we heal ourselves, the planet will be less disturbed. And we cannot have the kind of, thing, I'm going to save the planet. No, the planet don't need us to be saved, but we need to save ourselves, humanity. This is a problem. The problem came from us, and we have to find ways to resolve that. And we have the solution inside each of us. We can do that change. We can take off this mask and see beyond. So it can seem what I'm saying totally crazy or totally, it's very hard because a lot of things are pushing inside and it's very hard for me to express properly. But I feel it's very strong. We all have this ability. And I'm thankful to this person who put this comment because it obliges me through this comment and through the message I got and through what people sent me about what is going on this last day, to look, to see, to investigate and to feel and to realize that as I am in my little world and totally in quarantine since many years, because as I told you, I'm not in the media, I don't watch media, but I am connected with myself, with my source, and what I receive as messages sometimes it's from beyond the media, and I have my consciousness about limited, sure, but about something else. But I'm not under the imprint of the media because I'm not with it. But it's also good to be connected and to see, and I'm thankful to the people who sent me all these messages and this video and information coming from right, left, everywhere, and see that fact there is something beyond that we have to see. We have to open our mind, don't reject what we think is conspiracy, but dig in that and see on both sides what is going on. And I think what is pushing through all of this is really a need to open our consciousness about who we are as human beings, who we are exactly, what is this life coming from, what is breathing through us, because you think we breathe, we have the power to breathe, but it's not us. We cannot, if this breath is taken away, it's not we have no power on that. We cannot say, no, I don't want that this be taken away from me, but we have the power to protect that. So all this thing about colors and race and all that, the thing is not about that. It's about human life and how can we change the way to be, but first we have to be aware about what is a human life. It's not only a mask of flesh. The dream was so strong. It's beyond that. What is acting? Who we are from? It's fantastic. Me, I'm amazed and I'm always like, wow, what is this wonder since kid about how this thing is working together. So now I think the Messiah that some people are still waiting to come, like an individual coming, it's not that. It's in each of us. How our ability to be awakened as, human, but coming from another reality, our essence. What is that? And be amazed by that and be, wow, this is fantastic. The most amazing science fiction story, we'll leave it right there in our body. Imagine this billiard of cells and DNA spiral and all these things. It's completely crazy when you think about that. And we can change that. this DNA information, with our way to see, with our consciousness, with our way to don't be under fear, but don't trust that universe we are coming from. Yes, 2 days ago, Saturday, I went to do my walk very early morning on the beach because it was low tide and the tide was going away. But it's still very powerful when the tide is going away, the currents. So I'm used, as you know, to walk. And when I came back from my walk, it was this rock that I saw sometimes at very low tide, totally not surrounded by water. And I know, but I forget about that. When then the tide is going away, around the rock, there is like something, a trench that is dig. And I forget, under the water, I forgot it was that. But I was so mesmerized by the sea star that I was seeing in the rock, red, orange, with blue anemones around, and this beauty. And I went, and the water was there. I forgot it was a hole beside, and I went closer to do a video with my phone, excited to see this beauty from close. And the water came. I don't saw the hole, and I fell. And I fell in the water. And I had my phone on the left hand, and I fell on my right hand. As it was going to low tide, it was not very deep, but I wet myself quite a bit, but I fell on my right side. And what is the right side? For me, it's the masculine, and it's the side about action. So I went out of that, and I was like, wow, what's the meaning of that? What's the meaning of that? I go to film beauty. I'm excited about beauty, about this life in the rocks. And in the same time, I was filming that. I was wondering how this sea star, when tide is totally out, they're going to survive. How they have to go away with the water now. How this going to happen? Maybe some people going to take them. And I was like in that thing when I was filming, you know. I was like excited, but in a way also worried about the sea star. And I totally forgot the hole that I know that is there. And I went in the hole and I fell. And I went out of the hole and I was walking, going back home. And when I went back home, I saw my little friends exercising on the beach. So I hugged my friend. And I was still not seeing the point of my fall. And this morning, I saw the point of my fall with the dream of these two young men, my children. On the left, very positive. So maybe a lot of you are lost now in what I'm saying, or maybe are lost in the beginning. And I started to connect the dot. Because the evening, when I came back from my walk on the water, I had no pain. But when I started to want to prepare something to eat, I started to have a pain in my right hand. On my right finger, this is a finger that shows how often you put a finger, oh, look at that. So I took it for myself. What I'm not seeing properly, what my finger showing myself is showing something that I'm not seeing properly. So I started to see the connection between my fall and what I have to understand for myself. Because this is what is asking to each of us, to face ourselves with honesty, with truth. So, and it's that when I was thinking again about that message that I received, that comment that I posted. And I said, this is pointing something to a part of myself that I'm not seeing. Yes, I expose myself, I say about my truth, the fruit of my experience. But this is pointing something I'm not looking at, of something, like said the comment, about why do you post all this and not seeing what is going on in the world and not open your mouth about that. So I say, okay, yes, sure, because I don't want to put oil on the fire. I'm not speaking, it's true, about my position about all this big mess. Even if I post video of that or that or that, it's more for people to have food to thought about that than me saying it's that or that, because I can't. Because for me, it's not that or that. So I have to be really clear about this thing and to bring this very clearly first to myself with my finger that was painful. So I cooked and I started to feel pain in my body. Because when you fall for a certain minimum of second time, your whole system is stopped and your blood is stopping to circulate, even if it's one fraction of a second. And when this happens, it starts to have, effect on the whole body. And I started to have pain on my right hip and my right knee, to the point that it was so strong that the evening my knee was starting to swell. So I was going back to the symbols. And I say, the right knee, the knee is articulation that make us being able to go forward. In fact, to go to the future. And my right knee is showing me that in the circumstances, it's difficult to go back, to go to the future, to go forward, because I have pain. It's also the knee, it's also something that makes you kneel by humility, to be humble. And I was unable to kneel. So I started to put all this together. And I wanted to finish my sweater that I finished, and it was difficult because my finger was hurting to knit. So I stay with these pains, and the hips is the place of the association. Association outside, it's a place of wedding, engagement, but it's also association inside of myself. How do I associate things inside of myself? So I started to listen to the language of my body with this pain that were pointing specific area and how I can connect the dots. So the first thing I said, okay, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take care of the place of the pain. So what can I do? I don't take painkiller. So I said, okay, I'm going to put a big plaster of clay, green clay, on my knee for the swollen part that was on the external right side, extreme right. So I say, okay, I'm going to put a plaster of clay. So I did a plaster quite thick of clay with a cloth. I put the clay on my knee and I wrapped that and I kept that all night. The morning, I still had a little bit of pain, but I started to connect more and more the dots. And the morning was a Sunday. So the Sunday is the day of the sun, when you can get, rest, to be enlightened by the light of the sun, to rest with yourself. It's a day where we are with ourselves. So I started to go yesterday more and more in history, to connect dots in between and see all that. And yesterday evening I said, okay, I'm going to put a plaster on my knee again. So the knee, in French, it's called the genou. And the genou, it's a connection between us, I, and us, we. Je, nous. It's a relation between us, I, je, and us, nous. Je and nous. Je, nous. I, us, we. So it was like, okay, what is my relation with the we, with the collectivity, with the collective? And I was, in that thing. And this morning I stand up and I had my plaster again. I took it off. It was all dry. And I have absolutely no more pain. When we have a pain in the knee, it's also showing us to stop and to reflect. How are we connected with ourselves, but it's also with the others, but it's also with different parts of ourselves. How we are clear, honest with ourselves. And knees goes beyond. In Italian, it is ginocchio. Il ginocchio, it's the knee. C'est le genou. Ginocchio is also the word inside of occhio, that is the eye, that is in French l'œil. The eye, it's the thing that, like the formation of the knee, of the genou, ginocchio, knee, genou, it's made exactly like the eye. It's old with back, with the muscles, the ligament that hold the eye. It's the same way that is hold the rotula, the cap of the knee. The top, like the ginocchio, the way the ginocchio, it's difficult because there are three languages, but for Italian, come è fatto il ginocchio, l'occhio è fatto nello stesso modo, o supporto, il supporto è lo stesso, con i muscoli e con questo vi invito di guardare l'anatomia. So I was saying that I invite you to look at the anatomy of an eye and of a knee, and you will see that the formation is the same. The knee is a part of the body that makes us able to go forward. The eye is also what makes us able to see forward. So when we cannot see properly forward, there is a connection, and often we have something, a small incident or small thing in our body that make our knee stopping to work properly for us to be able to see differently and to connect, go forward differently. So maybe all this seems not connected, but there is something here. Like by chance this morning, I can see deeper, differently, and I have no more pain in my knee. So the thing is, what I see now, it's what I explained before. It is that all this situation we are right now, all of us, it's just to simplify, to connect with the divine inside each of us. The Messiah that people are waiting is not from outside. Everything is coming from inside. And all the situation obliges us to be inside, but not only inside our home, physical, material home, but from our inside, our physical body, our vehicle, and to reflect a little bit about our human condition. Who are we really? Really? And the wonder that it is. What can we do with that? Yesterday it has been also beautiful images of policemen kneeling. Maybe again people gonna say, yeah, this is a trap. It's just stop trying to see all negativity in everything. Try to see symbols of beautiful things that are going on also. Not only bad things. How can we stop seeing always the negative sides of things? And even seeing that that negative side is also part of what makes something beautiful possible. Let's try to think a little bit about that. Try to be open to other possibilities. Try to be open to that unknown part of ourselves that beyond cutting the mask, there are still these eyes. I have no more words because it's very strong what is going on. How can we be connected to that source without putting tags of any religion or anything? It's starting more than 7,000 years ago when all the gods were manifested as symbols, and it was part of the same source. And after, one pharaoh had the idea to bring one god, Akhenaton, and it has been a revolution. But it was the same thing, because he realized that all these were part of the same thing. All these gods were the same thing. And it's who we are. We are part, sparkle of divine, of the same thing. No matter the color and the shape. Who cares about that? When we take off the mask, like in my dream, there are only eyes that stays. The ball of our eyes. And no matter the color of these, the function is the same. Because if we take only the ball of eyes, sure, they are blue, they are green, they are brown, they are black, but we don't see the flesh around the color it is. We have to look beyond the mask. The masks. We are obliged to put masks, and we are revolted because we don't want. But the mask we have to take off, it's not the mask of fabric, it's the other one. It's that mask who don't let us see our eyeball and see what is seeing through these eyeballs. This is the thing that is going on. The dream was very strong and speaking to me about that. And it's that. So Akhenaton came and decided it was only one God. And from that starting the division. This religion. And came 2,000 years ago, this one symbolized maybe existing of Jesus. And a symbol of that revolution, saying that in the name of God, don't make money in the name of my Father, but take this as symbol, not take this as, and this has been messed up. We create a new religions, and Catholic things who killed thousands of people in the name of God again. So please stop. This is not the thing. Now we are in an era where we gonna abolish all these things. These things are obsolete because we are all coming from the same source. And now we are on the verge of the Aquarius era that is about the collective. We have to make a collective, but not a collective things of oppression, like this conspiracy theory things, but is what is the plan. We have the ability to be aware that this is a possibility and to found with our mind connected to spirit, to find another way, to find something beautiful out of that. And maybe, sure, there is this plan of this Agenda 21 from the UN about depopulation that can take a very weird shape. But maybe we can see this differently. Maybe we can educate our children, in country where we have so many children birthing, and maybe we can limit that. Maybe we can educate in a way to have less children, to don't depopulate in a hard way, but to populate differently and educate children about life differently, to sensitize in a different way. It's up to each of us. What ways are we going to find to bring with this consciousness, with awareness about the beauty that is life and humans? So it's very hard, and I cannot see all the comment of everyone, because, and I don't know if I'm gonna see them, because I don't know what happened with Instagram. I cannot see comments anymore. I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's a kind of censure. It's really weird. But if you have things very deep, please send me messages. It will maybe take time for me to answer to all of them, because I answer to all the messages that resonate with me with something important. And but I will be very happy if you send what you have to say in private messages. And now I answer more and more vocally, because I don't have time to write. And I hope I was not too confusing. I want to see this as something beautiful coming. Like I said yesterday, a beautiful butterfly gonna get out of this cocoon, this mess, this dissolved thing that is dissolving. I wish you a very good day and a very good week. I try to see your comment, because I lose them. I cannot see them after when I close. So yeah, we are in a period of transition for sure. It's very strong. We just have to shift our consciousness, just to try to find a little key in what seems it's that, just to, I always think, because I experiment this many times, the solution is in the problem. It's right there. They are together in the same thing. It's right there. I'm not worried that people see I'm not worried at all. If I cry, it's not because I'm worried or scared or sad. I cried, it's more tears of grace. I feel amazed. I feel it's a blessing. I don't know how do we move forward. How do we move forward? I think it's by being more and more and more intensively connected to that source, to dig inside ourselves, to be in touch with the problem, to be in touch, to don't avoid it, to be in touch with it, to be in touch with our fear, to be in touch with our pain. Like I've been in touch with the pain in my knee, and in 2 days it's gone, because I've been really in touch, and I went to see what was the message there. where I was not able, where I was not going forward properly, even with myself. This is the thing we have to do. We have to face ourselves. How can we, each of us, how can we go forward differently? I think maybe it's that, and it's not easy. It's not easy to do. And sometimes we have, like I had this fall, and and because I just wanted to see the beauty of the sea stars, and maybe not, and going back home and seeing my beautiful pictures and not seeing what is going on with all this riot around the country and around the world. So it obliges me to go and go and see that and be moved by that. And be when also when I went to the farmers market yesterday morning, I saw these people with this board, this protest in Malibu, few of them, but I cried going back home because it was like, wow, yes, this is happening, you know. It's hard, but we have to face that because there is beauty in that. I wish I could speak so many languages. I wish to have a common language, but it's difficult, you know, because it's come for me easier in English because it's where I live now. And it's the language that it can be the most shared, but I wish I could speak. Here I see people want me to speak in Portuguese or in Russian. I can't, I'm sorry. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get all this. I wish you a good day. Bye bye.